It's NFL free agency and the landscape of the league continues to change as the massive news coming at it today is Aaron Donald hanging it up, calling it quits. He is retiring. He is a future Hall of Famer, the best defensive player of my generation. Calling it quits. This is big for the Rams. What are the implications here? What are the draft implications? We'll talk about all that and more because there were a series of trades and other moves that I want to get to. But let's go ahead and get into this Aaron Donald news as yes, he is retiring. And now the interior of that defensive line not looking so hot for the Los Angeles Rams. They hit on Kobe Turner. He looked fabulous last season. But next to him, who's it going to be? Who? They got Bobby Brown, who they drafted a few years ago out of Texas A&M, but he's really just kind of the nose guard there. He's just this big body that can create pileups in the run game. Behind him is Corey Durden, a guy they picked up in free agency, I think last season, coming out of NC State. So not looking so hot. You also got Desjuan Johnson, I think he was Mr. Irrelevant last year, actually, coming out of Toledo, but a bit more undersized. I think it's very possible that the Rams use their first or second round pick on a defensive interior player. The question is, who? They could go first round, pick 19, maybe Byron Murphy out of Texas if he's still on the board. Maybe Johnny Newton out of Illinois. He's a guy that kind of like floats in and out of the first round, but largely I think the draft community thinks he's a surefire first rounder. I'm kind of on board with that. Or maybe they go to round 2. Maybe like a Tavondre Sweat falls to them. Get that big body guy in there. There's a few routes they can take here, but they definitely need to bring in someone. I mean, you're not going to replace Aaron Donald, but can we maybe bandage the bleeding here a little bit? They do have other needs, though. We could talk about left tackle. You're in a very tackle-rich draft, and maybe they like Alaric Jackson, but I feel like you should still bring in competition and talent to compete with that because that's obviously the weakest part of your offensive line. You could go to the corner position because outside of Darius Williams, they don't got much of anything. They did sign Cam Curl late last night after we got done streaming, of course. So it looks like your safety duo there is going to be Russ Yeast, he's fine, and Cam Curl. They're going to keep Quinnen Lake there in the slot, which was great. He was fire for them down the stretch. And I assume this just moves Kobe Durant to the outside full time. He basically split time between the slot and the outside last year. They have Darian Kendrick, he's big and slow. They have Trey Tomlinson. He's small and fast. So corner is probably also going to be a prime selection there at 19. It's going to be interesting to see what they do, what their exact draft strategy may be, but this is a massive hit for the Los Angeles Rams. But that wasn't all that went down today. As I said, there were some trades, and probably the biggest one came out of Minnesota as they traded into the first round. Well, got a second first round pick via the Houston Texans, as Minnesota will get pick 23 along with the 7th rounder, and they're going to send Houston pick 42, pick 188, and a second rounder in 2025. Why would they do this? This is telling me they may want to move up for a quarterback. Now they have very, very alluring draft capital to make that move into maybe not only the top 10, but the top 5 to grab a quarterback. We still don't know. Like, it's largely assumed. Bears going quarterback. Commanders going quarterback. Patriots? Who knows what the hell they're going to do? The world is their oyster. Aren't oysters? Maybe it's clams up in New England. Yeah, New England clam chowder. That makes a little more sense. The world is your clam. Get ready to shuck it, New England. We could talk about maybe moves to pick 4, to pick 5. I feel like the Cardinals could be a team that wants to trade down and just acquire more capital. We could talk about, like, again, the Chargers, but them getting rid of Keenan Allen last night. Do they want to stick there and just take a wide receiver? It's going to be interesting to see how all this plays out. It's going to be very interesting to see how all this plays out. But now Minnesota They have that extra first round pick this year, I think, to make a move into the top. I'm going to say the top 5. I'm going to say the top 5. Maybe even pick 6 would be in play. But I mean, are you going to give 2 first rounders to move up to pick 6? I guess you could. I don't know. It's going to be very interesting to see how all this plays out. For the Texans, they're just acquiring draft capital. This is a team that's got a lot of good young talent on it. And you're just going to ensure that you keep your team young and talented by acquiring future draft capital. So they get a pick 42 this year. They get a second rounder next year. So I think it was a solid enough move by the Texans, who we kind of been talking about there at pick 23. They could kind of do whatever and it'd be all right. But acquiring extra draft capital, again, to me, never the wrong answer. We also had Kenny Pickett go from the Pittsburgh Steelers to the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm going to find that somewhere here. Where you at? So here it is. So the Eagles are going to be shipping a 3rd round pick and 2 7th round picks in next year's class for Kenny Pickett, and actually a 4th rounder. So essentially, it's the Eagles turned their 3rd into a 4th, but also got Kenny Pickett for it. I thought the idea would be they would go into camp this year in a sort of competition, with everyone assuming it's going to be Russell Wilson who wins. But he's only on a 1-year, $1.7 million contract. So you got to ask the question, what's the future at quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers? Are they going to try to find that in this draft? They don't necessarily have to. I mean, if they're in the 2nd round there, maybe it's like, oh, do we take a Bo Nix? Do we take a Michael Penix? Because I assume the NFL's not nearly high on those guys. So maybe they make it to that 2nd round pick for Pittsburgh. I don't know, but this move obviously is saying, hey, Russ is our quarterback. He's our guy. Good luck, Godspeed. Kenny Pickett goes to be the backup there for Jalen Hurts. Who else do the Eagles have there? I know they got Tanner McKee, but he's a practice squad guy. Yeah, the only other guy they had is Tanner McKee. So they get Kenny Pickett as a little insurance. So very, very interesting move there for the Eagles and the Steelers, man. It's just very fascinating. Steelers grab an extra day 2 pick, so it's all well and good. I mean, kind of is what it is. Go ahead and hit the refresh button and see what has gone on in the league in other news. As the Rams are signing Jimmy Garoppolo, whoop-de-doo. He is suspended for the first 2 games of the season because of PEDs. It's honestly kind of a nothing move for me, but I mean, yeah, we did see Matthew Stafford get banged up last year, so it's nice to have a very good backup. I mean, honestly, that's a great situation for Jimmy G. I am kind of curious what the contract is. I imagine it's nothing crazy. We got Isaac Iadam going to the Niners. Solomon Thomas returned to the Jets. We got John Wolford going to the Bucks. I guess this is competition for Kyle Trask in the backup role. It's the only thing I could think of. So interesting. I do like this pick, though. The Bucks get in Opeta on a 1-year deal. He comes in and I guess immediately competes for that left guard spot. Honestly, he came in last year after there were some injuries along that Eagles offensive line and played pretty darn well. So I like this. I like this move for him. I don't think this stops them from making a move in the draft, whether it's the 1st round or day 2, to go out and get another guard. Remember, I mean, Opeta's just on a 1-year deal, but it gives them a little bit more cushion and brings in competition. I'm very, very cool with that. Let's see what else we got going on here. As Jordan Fuller, this is a good move by the Panthers. They signed Jordan Fuller to a 1-year deal. I'm kind of shocked he didn't get more than that. I know he's been banged up the last couple of years, but this is a good move for the Panthers, who just released Von Bell. So you need that other safety next to Xavier Woods, and Jordan Fuller's, it's quality. This is a very quality move by the Carolina Panthers. I like it. They made some good moves the last couple of days. The Tennessee Titans officially said, hey, we are going to be drafting hopefully Joe Alt at pick 7. I think that's what this move says as they release Andre Dillard. I thought maybe maybe we could see a corner at pick 7 potentially, but still the overwhelming favorite to go to Tennessee would be Joe Alt. And I feel like this just seals the deal. Tennessee is going offensive line in the top 10 with this pick, which it's a good offensive line class to go in on. It's a good offensive tackle class to go in on. So yeah, get Tennessee fans, get used to seeing Joe Alt there. If you haven't already gotten used to Joe Alt being there at pick 7, every mock draft, it's almost set in stone at this point. The Cowboys, hey man, remember when Jerry said there was going to be some moves? Well, here they are. They released Van Der Esch and Michael Gallup. Yay. The Giants, they signed Aaron Steeney. I like this move. This is good depth for the Giants. They continue to bring in guys on that offensive line. So the Giants, I think the Giants have done quietly a pretty darn good job in free agency. It's just unfortunately, it comes down to, can Daniel Jones play well? Can he play well enough to keep this team competitive? Kind of going to be the question. I really do think that them bringing in Drew Lock in, that's their, oh no, we're going to be looking at a quarterback, during the offseason. That's their quarterback move, bringing in Drew Lock as the backup. It is what it is. They're going to ride with Daniel Jones, I think, for one more year before they actually call it quits. We got Pettis coming back to Chicago. The Bucks also brought in Justin School, which that's cool. That's fine. And I don't think there were any other big moves. Ben Brenson. So yeah, man, the Bucks actually brought in quite a bit of offensive line help. Bringing in Breedson. Not half bad. Not half bad. Mike Vrabel is going to be hopping on the Browns to be a consultant, which, I mean, we saw Vic Fangio do that with the Eagles, and then he ended up just getting a DC job in Miami, and now he's back with Philly. So maybe be on the look that Mike Vrabel could end up being a DC after this season. I imagine it's going to be the defense is going to have a good year for the Browns. It's a very good defense there. More in particularly at home. They weren't as good on the road. Josh Sweat is sticking around. They restructure his deal. He's going to stick around with the Eagles. So Hassan Reddick's going to be that guy that they move. Question is just how soon? What urgency will there be to move Hassan Reddick? Are they going to wait till they can really get a solid draft pick for him? I don't know. We're going to have to wait. I think they could probably, for Hassan Reddick, get like a 3rd or 4th round pick. But we'll see. We'll see. Let's look at some more posts. As I actually like this pickup for the Niners, as you know, you're going to be down Drake Greenlaw for a large part of the season. They'd be bringing in Devondre Campbell, who is a very good, very capable veteran at this point. So I like that addition there to play next to Fred Warner after they kind of missed out on Eric Kendricks, who ended up going to Dallas. And that might be it. That might be. Oh man, that's right. The Niners brought back Feliciano, who actually played really well for them down the stretch. So that's probably going to be their starter at right guard. So I don't know, man. I'm kind of curious if the Niners will at pick 31. Will they go with just best player available, or will they try to go and address this offensive line? Because I really do think the interior and obviously the right tackle position were kind of big weaknesses for the Niners last season. We're going to go ahead, do one final refresh before I decide to upload this sucker. Yep, Jimmy G news was the most latest. But hey, I'm gonna be on Draft Bros later tonight with Alex from Hail Mary Sports, talking about free agency and some of the implications this now has on the NFL draft. I will have a 3-round mock draft out for y'all tomorrow, and I'm also streaming a mock the mock tomorrow morning. So hey, be there for that. We got a lot going on at the channel, so go ahead, become a bro and subscribe. Leave that thumbs up if you enjoy the content. If you want more free agent, or if you want more draft content, I just released my quarterback rankings. Go ahead, check that sucker out. But as always, until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.